Perplexity AI is in the news again. It's one of our favorite tools, and it's been in the news for all the right reasons and all the wrong reasons. More of late, it's been a little bit more the wrong reasons, but still a phenomenal tool. Just interesting when now more competition coming out from Search GPT from OpenAI, from U.com, phenomenal product as well. But Jaden, I'm just going to read this headline to you from CNBC. It says this: Perplexity AI will share revenue with publishers after plagiarism accusations. And just the subheadline here is Perplexity AI debuted a revenue sharing model for publishers after more than a month of plagiarism accusations. And it says media outlets and content platforms like Fortune, Time, Entrepreneur, and then a bunch of other ones are going to start sharing what. So, Jaden, thoughts on it? Like, what was driving this? Your thoughts on this? Are you skeptical about it? What does this say for the future of journalism? Hit me with this.
Yeah, okay. So my hot take on this is, why is OpenAI making deals with Axel Springer and the New York Times and everyone else? Why are we seeing the same thing from Perplexity? And why are they not making the same deals with WikiHow.com and I don't know, some of these other places? And the reason is quite obvious, because some of these websites are highly critical of them. Right. They write hit pieces on them. They write about how they're not sharing. They complain.
Wait, is this
whatever?
Is this a Jaden conspiracy theory, or are you just preaching like it is?
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a little bit of both. But I'd just say, like, I think it's awesome that they're gonna start sharing revenue. But I would bet you, if you read news articles about these companies, the news will become more positive towards these companies once they start giving money to the journalists and which, I mean, fair enough, right? But I don't know. I just think that's interesting. Okay, so that part of it aside, the bribery part aside. Okay, here's what I guess I don't like is it definitely feels like they're paying off.
I love that you're like, this is the part I don't like, the bribery. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Okay, so I feel like they're paying off the people with the microphone, and which everyone's like, yeah, they deserve money. Sure, they do, but like, everyone deserves money if they deserve money, and they can't give everyone money, so they just give people with the microphone money. I mean, there's just like huge parts of the internet that they've still sucked into their to their corpus of data that they use, that they do not compensate. So I don't know. It just feels like they're just paying off the right people. Maybe that's just showbiz, baby. But anyways, what I do think is really interesting here, I think Perplexity has done some very clever moves. I think they're a company that they actually got big for all the right organic reasons of making a really great product that people loved. I've seen tons of people on X. They're like, this is how I switch my search engine from Google to Perplexity. And they have this like little video and everyone's like, yeah, it's awesome. I'm doing that. I honestly need to do that because I think I like its results better. And yeah, so sorry, Google. But that being said, I think that so that's the first thing that they did great. If you want to replace your search engine with an AI that just gives you the answer right away, Perplexity is the way to go for that. But I think that it's something clever that not a lot of people are talking about. Maybe this plays into them paying journalists and paying everyone else for the data. They started doing, I believe it's called Perplexity Pages, where essentially you can create like a page out of the response you get, and it gets published. Now, when I first saw that, I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Maybe it's going to be mediocre content. Maybe this is something people are going to use. Maybe they are. I don't really know. Whatever. I have seen in Google results for a bunch of different terms, when I search for something, a Perplexity page that shows up. Like, what is that? That's essentially like a snapshot frozen in time of someone's AI search they did at one point. And it's kind of cool because it takes the weight off of Perplexity to have to rewrite that response every time someone ever answers it or asks it. And it serves it over to Google to have to kind of sort through it. And it's just like a static page. Now, it's kind of interesting because you also have to think they got to store all the data, all the images in those articles. Like, they're paying for stuff, so like they got to monetize it. And I think for them, the monetization is like these pages are like lead gen, driving people back. So it's like free advertising for them, right? They're building like a giant content machine. So I think that's kind of cool. And I think that's where Perplexity is the winner. Now, as far as paying people, I think that's awesome. I would love for them to have a program where whoever they're quoting or citing, you sign up and you collect your royalties for however you were used. It kind of feels like that, like with like music. When you make music, if someone uses it, assuming that they do it the correct way. You have to usually pay like a license. So for music licensing, I think it's like 7 cents on the dollar to the original singer. But anyways, it's all like automatically done, and you get automatically paid, and all the royalties are like figured out or whatever. So if they did something like that, I think that'd be cool too, where it wasn't just journalists, like someone writes a blog and they're getting compensated from it. I would like to see that. Will I see that? Probably not. Is it realistic?
But that's my question, that because which direction do you, like, you have to put money on this. Which direction do you think this goes, right? Because you're kind of painting two different pictures, right? Which is right? Like one is huge consolidation, Perplexity, and then they and OpenAI, they're all paying the same few organizations, right? It's New York Times, it's Washington Post, it's Fortune, it's Time Magazine, all that kind of stuff, Der Spiegel, whatever it is, Axel Springer. So they're paying those. So I don't know if the other ones fall away or if it gives access and kind of democratizes like a lot of more things. But if Perplexity and OpenAI are both then really sourcing things like Fortune and places like that, then I don't think those brands will go away, because I think people really want credibility, and I think they'll really stick around. I don't think this is the death of journalism. In fact, it's, in a way, it's the reviving. It's almost like the culling of journalism. I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean, the smaller ones will probably fall out. This happened with MBA programs a while back, where the bottom MBA programs just kind of fell out because there just wasn't enough room for all the MBA programs, but the big ones kind of stick around. So number one is what's going to happen with that. And number two is this Perplexity. Jaden, I saw the same thing. I'm starting to get results for Perplexity pages like number 5 on the list, sometimes above Tom's Guide and things like that. And I cannot figure out what is Google crawling that it finds that. Where does that page live? I am so confused by all of this.
Yeah, no, I was actually really confused. Not confused, but I was surprised that those pages were indexed the way that they're indexed and were showing up, because I don't know, just with how Google kind of does. But I guess Google can't be like impartial, because so theoretically they know every single piece of content there is AI generated, so they could be like, hey, like just mass ban this just blacklist any Perplexity pages, they won't show up. Sure, people can make them to share with their friends, and that's fine, but we're not showing them Google results because we can't guarantee those are high quality.
Right.
That's like one option they could do, and I'm impressed and also surprised that they did not do that. They just let them ride, let those things rank. The thing is, Perplexity.com has a really high page rank. It's a really high authority site because obviously it's one of the biggest AI companies. It's got a ton of traffic. And so because of that high page rank, all of their subsidiary pages are ranking really well. Honestly, it's a very big SEO hack. If your company or yourself is looking to rank on Google for something, I would go make Perplexity pages about all of your search terms that, if you can get links back to your product, or you talk about it in there, or you edit it or whatever. I think it's a great idea. It's a great kind of hack for ranking. I'm impressed they've done it. One interesting thing about the Perplexity deal with publishers that I thought was interesting. So they're not actually just going straight to publishers and working out these deals. They're actually working with a company called scalepost.ai. And scalepost.ai essentially lets publishers and AI companies like work together. It gives them analytics for how their content is being cited, etc. This is interesting to me, and I'm not sure if the reason is like, oh, they're just trying to save time and money and resources, let another company do that, which I think is a good response. The more not pessimistic, more skeptical part of me says like, it's the publishers that want to go through this, because the publishers maybe don't trust OpenAI and don't trust Perplexity and don't trust these other AI companies, and they're like, no, we want you to use this company that we're going to get the analytics of how everything looks and who's clicking on what and how everything's like going down. I'm curious to, dig in a little bit more on the relationship with that, but I do think it's interesting they're using a third party, and this isn't a direct connection that Perplexity is making at this moment. I hadn't even
thought of that. My gosh. Yeah, right. That's good. That's good insight. Well, so where are we going to end up? Because I feel like we are hitting very quickly this inflection point around search engines, just because of SEO. Guys, search engines are not a public good, right? They run on advertising and things like that. So as GPT search or Search GPT comes out, I guess, Perplexity, U.com, I don't know if there are other competitors. I don't know if they start to hammer each other or if they kind of crowd out the market. I don't know what that does to Google search, and there's other search engines, there's Bing and things like that. So on one hand, we have an inflection point, I think, around the search engine just because of SEO, search engine optimization. which just means how do you write your website in such a way that it gets picked up by the Google algorithm? This is a multi-billion dollar business out there. This is how it all works. And it's upturning that whole model. So you're upturning a few things: the search engine model, the advertising model. You're upturning like how, or turning whatever sort of like shaking up how any corporation in any field does its advertising. You're also shaking up at the exact same time journalism. I mean, and who journalists are going to be partnering with, and which media outlets will partner with these things, and which ones want to stand alone, and what happens with the New York Times out there filing a lawsuit. It's Jaden, I don't know. I'm sure there's been other times in history. I don't want to be prisoner of the moment here, but it just feels like at this moment right now, when we just look at that landscape, there's so many colossal elements of our commercial society that are being just sort of shaken up all in the exact same moment because of the exact same technology,
100%. Okay, one last juicy tidbit that I just thought of, and that is the fact that Perplexity, I said that, these pages are a great idea for market, for advertising, essentially getting more eyeballs and users on them. I think it might be a 4D chess move. Imagine this. You do a search on Perplexity, and a Perplexity page shows up as the search result for whatever you're doing. And maybe the Perplexity page is the result. So it's kind of like on Google back in the day when you clicked "I'm feeling lucky," and it take you straight to a web page. If Perplexity can say like, "Oh, this Perplexity page covers exactly what they're talking about," that would be a really interesting way that they could save money because they don't have to recompute it. They just know like their indexing algorithm knows that like that's where so they save money on it. But also, it like keeps people on their website. It like essentially they become their own content engine. Anyways, I think there's a lot of really interesting things that get going on here.
This is amazing, Jaden. This has been 12 minutes of us analyzing every industry under the sun. We threw some conspiracy theories at you. We've told you the future of every corporation, that told you the future of marketing and advertising and everything else. Guys, if this was not worth your 12 minutes, I don't know what is. The way that you can help us, if you'd be willing to leave a rating and a review, guys, I cannot tell you how much this means to us. Genuinely, when you should see, my wife will tell you, when I get a new review, I'm like dancing around the house. That's how important it is. You all have been so generous, but it only takes a minute. It would mean the world to us if you are willing to leave a rating and review. Honestly, it really means a lot. And listen, just thanks for tuning in every week for us. We do these a few times a week. We love it. And listen, just keep on listening. And if you have comments, leave it. We always read every comment as well. But until the next time, have an amazing rest of your day.